What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, we've got both the secret rares to take a little bit of a look at. From Romance Dawn, these are the very first One Piece secret rares we've seen, and I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty gosh darn exciting, and worth getting pretty gosh darned excited about. Oh no! These are fun. Now, first things first, you can see what the secret rares look like. The designs of these are now known. This is what your secret rares are going to look like. You've got the gold border, you've got the full art of the card, and when it's full art, I mean they're kind of popping out the borders. The art of the characters is coming out of the borders. The art is largely just the character. There's not much background there to speak of. I want to see these in person. I want to see the texture. I want to see the foiling, and I'm assuming they're going to be amazing, because they're probably following the Digimon model. And that's the other thing we need to mention. Before we get to what they do, and they look really nice, we need to talk about the pull rates. Now, I've had this conversation with you guys before, but let me tell you again one more time. Do not assume this is going to be anything whatsoever like Dragon Ball Super. Now, I know in Dragon Ball Super, the secret rares have crazy low pull rates. They're like 1 per case or something stupid, which is actually super annoying because it means you can buy a booster box and know, the seller will know there is no secret rare because the secret rare for the case has already been pulled. So you can buy a booster box and have literally no chance whatsoever of pulling the secret rare, which I absolutely hate with a passion. It's one of the many things about the Dragon Ball Super TCG that I'm just not a huge fan of, but yeah, the way they deal with that is rubbish. But there's also a restriction that you can only have one in your deck and all of that. Let's be clear, and I've said this many times, One Piece are following the Digimon model, that the Bandai team doing One Piece are doing exactly, and I mean exactly, what they were doing with Digimon. Like, if you look at the number of different cards available, the number of commons, uncommons, etc. in Romance Dawn, it's the same as in a Digimon set. Although you do have to add in the leader cards, which are separate, admittedly. It's literally the same. They are completely, and I mean completely, following the Digimon model. What does that mean? It means that you are going to get 2 special cards per box in English, which is going to be alternate art or secret rare. There are going to be 2 alternate art or secret rare, and roughly 1 in 2 boxes is going to have a secret rare. This is not confirmed, it is not official, but it is overwhelmingly likely because, again, everything they're doing, 2 secret rares per set? Oh, just like in Digimon, you mean? 120 cards in a set? You mean like how Digimon do 112 and then you add in 8 leaders? They are really following the Digimon model exactly, so expect that to be the case. No guarantee, but that is overwhelmingly likely to be the case. So what have we got here? Well, we've got Shanks. Shanks is a red character, 9 cost, which is very high. 10,000 power, which is very high. Remember, your leaders generally tend to have like 5,000 power, so this means that if you're attacking with Shanks, your opponent is going to have to counter pretty high in order to stop this going through and taking a life. That's a good thing for you, not for them. You've then got Rush, which means you can attack the turn you play it. So look, Shanks is super expensive, right? I get that. But if you're telling me I've got a 10,000 power character with Rush, this is the kind of thing that wins a game. Remember, you start with 1 Don, and then you get 2 more Don every turn. And there are ways to get more Don and all of that. So you're not getting Shanks out that quickly. You're going to be a few turns in, but you're literally at the case of as soon as you've got 9 Don on the field, you play this, you go. You're going to be taking off 1 of your life. Hey, hang on a second. Isn't your opponent going to try and block this? Well, I mean, yes, obviously they're going to try and block it. Well, good news. There is a attack skill. During this battle, your opponent cannot activate blocker of characters with 2,000 power or less. One thing that's very important to note, it does not say once per turn. Which means if you're playing cards that can unsuspend or activate the character, such that you can attack more than once in your turn, then every time your opponent cannot activate blocker of characters with 2,000 power or less, which is actually super relevant because we've seen in the starter decks, we've got 1-cost blockers. If you've been playing with the tutorial app, you would have seen Tony Chopper, a 1-cost blocker that is in that red starter deck. It's 1-cost 1,000 power, right? The entire point of these blockers is that they're in the deck to sacrifice themselves for 1 attack. Like, for instance, if your opponent played a 10,000 power character with Rush, as an example. That would be the kind of thing you would want to block. You would happily give up a 1-cost 1,000 power blocker to stop this going through. But you can't. 2,000 power or less, blocker doesn't work. Yes, obviously bigger blockers will work, but this is a finishing card. This is a kind of card which is coming out in the mid to late game to either take a key piece of life, win the game, or potentially just force your opponent into an awkward situation. Force them to do loads of countering, and then you can attack with other stuff. I really like this card. Now, and I know a lot of people have been testing with the starter decks, etc. I get that. We have seen most of the cards at this point from Romance Dawn and the starter decks. We've got an idea about the game. This game is not mature. This game has only just come out. It's not actually really come out. The starter decks literally come out today. As I record this and as it should be uploading, it is today that the starter decks release. What that means is we don't really have a great idea of the game. How viable is it going to be to play a 9-cost? I don't know. But if you can get this rolling, hey, it's got 10,000 power and rush and can't be blocked by tiny blockers. That's good, ladies and gentlemen. That's very, very good. Now, the other one there we've got here is Yamato. We've got a green character here, and we've got a 5-cost 5,000 power, so a little bit more reasonable. Now, this card's name is also treated as Kotsuki Oden. I am assuming there's some kind of reference to the anime here. I should say our translations are provided by the lovely Joe Allen over on the Facebook group, who said that the fact that it counts as Odin is hilarious. There is probably something in the anime, some reference there that I'm not getting, but that is going to be relevant because any cards that refer to that name, it's also going to count here, and that's really rather nice. But you've also got 2 very nice skills here as well. And they are actually skills we saw before that now we've got proper confirmation of what they do. We've got double attack and banish. And let me tell you, right, the combination of double attack and banish is awesome. We love the combination of double attack and banish. Because double attack means that when you attack the leader, if your attack goes through, you don't deal 1 point of damage, you deal 2. That is to say, instead of 1 of their life cards going to the hand, 2 of them do. But they don't go to the hand because Banish says they go to the trash instead. And this is wonderful because generally speaking, you get an advantage, right? Your opponent goes through your leader, they get an attack through, they take a life, so to speak. But you at least get a consolation prize. You get a small advantage from that. You get that life card into your hand, which means you've got extra options for next turn and all of that, and that's lovely. Or maybe even extra cards to use to counter for the remainder of this turn. But when your opponent is putting them into your trash, not your hand, you lose those advantages. And also, and I think this is very important, it's 2 of them. 2 of your 4 or 5 life are gone. I love this. I absolutely love this. And I think, again, we don't know enough about the game really at this stage. Nobody has played it enough to really know. But this seems really good. A 5-cost character with no extra Don is going to be out turn 3, potentially. Oh, it's also got counter plus 1,000. Sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, Shanks doesn't counter. This does have a counter. But this does not seem like a character I want to use to get an extra 1,000 on counter. This seems like one I actually want to use. And we still don't know how good it's going to be that it counts as this other character name, because there's going to be cards in future sets that interact with this. But the fact that you've got double attack and banish, sure, you're starting off at 5,000 power, so if your opponent doesn't counter at all, that will go through. Remember, the tie is resolved in favour of the attacker. But you get a bit of extra buff going on here, you attach a few Don cards and all of that, and then all of a sudden you're going through, and this is kind of like the attack your opponent has to block, or they have to throw down all their cards to counter, because if they don't go aggressive to try and counter this, things are going to go very, very wrong very, very quickly. Basically, both of these look really good. We'll have to wait until the game is properly out and we're all playing, etc. before we know for sure. But both of these cards look very nice. And if nothing else, we've now seen exactly what they look like. Go team! But now I want to hear from you guys. How good do you think these cards look? What do you think about the skills? What do you think about the art? What do you think about all of it? Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about a whole bunch of card games, including One Piece. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.